the ADC as a vehicle has been taken over by the Nigerian citizens. And if the shenanigan happening after our coalition, we are very sure that the trigger of the last few weeks, because somebody who INEC declared as second in the last election is part of ADC. The person who they declared as third, P2B, as third in the last election is part of ADC. And the person that they also declared as number 4 are all in ADC. And with the kind of delivery that they've done as number 1, with all the 30-something governors, they cannot show it.
The same thing that happens to Jonathan. We use a lot of Jonathan's people to win elections against him. That is exactly what is happening today. I'm telling you, it's the pattern. A lot of ministers, a lot of governors in this government, in our party, do not have the president at heart. They don't like him for what he is, for who he is. They want him for what he is.
Faɗi da kyau, in ta ce za ta cire opposition a cikin ballot na 2027, to write it down, there will be no election in 2027. Batun cewa babu adawa, babu opposition a 2027, to it means babu zaɓe a 2027. A Kebbi State, inda aka kwashi wa'yancan 'yan mata na farko aka sake mayarwa. To an je an ɗauko wasu, aka za a kada yarinya 'yan shekara 15, 'yan shekara 14, a sa mata wuka a yanka. Jama'a wani irin ƙasa muke a ciki.
All right, sir. What are your thoughts concerning the Supreme Court's ruling of ADC that restored David Mark as a leadership and also returning them back to the High Court? What do you make all of these judgments?
I'm telling you that is not a judgment we should be proud of because the judgment is not holistic. That judgment you are seeing is half-baked and it's too dangerous for Nigerian democracy as it stands now. We cannot be celebrating that kind of Supreme Court judgment that is not holistic. Supreme Court should have gone ahead, step forward, and declare that judgment, the way it's expected, and allow the opposition to, spring up properly and be able to challenge this Bola Ahmed Tinubu APC-led administration 2027. But the interpretation of that law, of that judgment, and the implication of it means that a particular faction has been recognized, and a particular faction was not recognized. Then the faction that is being recognized now is expected to carry out an internal restructuring without the presence of any high court or of appeal court. But you can see, instead of Supreme Court taking that line, they went as hard as, giving a judgment that is 2 edges of the sword, is very sharp and has the capacity of truncating democracy in Nigeria. Because they can also look at another window of which the opposition can capitalize on and do a proper damage after maybe possibly congresses or consensus but have been done because of time and order, and come up with, yes, this thing has been nullified by Federal High Court. Then when you take it to appeal, then at the end of the day, when somebody emerges as the winner of that election, they will start tell you that there's a window and there's and that. But that's why I'm saying that the Supreme Court should have gone ahead and do a yeoman's job, do a holistic, interpretation and pass a judgment that is worthy, and not this kind of judgment that puts ADC on one side and puts them also on the other side. That is not what is expected. For Entabulan, return back to status quo. That means return back to the position where that case was. That means at the end of the day, there is going to be likely continuation of legal battle.
But since the Supreme Court said the status quo antebellum was not necessary, so the court has removed that, the Supreme Court has removed that, now restoring David Mark-led leadership. So now you are of the position now that that particular law can bring another, because if...
No, No, what I'm saying is that, they would have stated it very clearly, using the judgment from the Federal High Court and using what they capitalized on was the Big Court judgment, interbulum, or that's what they capitalized, which was, possibly sacked or removed or considered to be very unnecessary in that regard, But for the Supreme Court to now refer them back to the Federal High Court, it's another legal battle at the end of the day, and that's what we are talking about. That it was not a judgment that anybody should celebrate at the end of the day. But let's look at another direction, the implications of what these things are going to, trigger within the political structure of Nigeria. Remember that other political parties definitely might also be affected by this judgment. And you can see the entire Attorney General of the Federation, who is supposed to be protective of the weak, has also taken a position threatening the weaker ones the more, threatening the opposition the more. My prayer is that Bola Ahmed Tinubu might likely trigger a revolution or a chaos or uncertainty that will not see him return back to 2027 election, and that might not see the opposition find their way to rule Nigeria again, and possibly leading to possible disintegration of Nigeria. And of course, it looks like Bola Ahmed Tinubu is actually tired because he is quite, for some time now, he has become very unpresidential with his statement. This is the first time in Nigeria I'm seeing a president coming out to tell the whole world that he is a stubborn politician. His followers are threatening the Nigerian opposition parties, using their cronies as foot soldiers to make sure that they scatter them and cause confusion. This is some things that are in the public domain, Well, the matter remains that, can the opposition under Peter Obi now rise up? Of course, you see, that's the implications of going to court, when you know that you're not going to get judgment. I can tell you that. That is, go to court. You see, when the judiciary has been commercialized, when an independent electoral commission in Nigeria is seen to be biased, is it not the same INEC chairman that capitalized on the provision, on the judgment of a Big Court and sacked the entire leadership of ADC? Bola Ahmed Tinubu is in for something serious, and I can tell you that. I'm not talking about, yes, people might not see it in that direction, but there's a grand plan to destroy the resources of the Biafran land. It is based on that resources now they are using to finance themselves, finance the political structure, and finance whatever loan they are having. I can tell you, in the next 100 years, they are using resources from the Biafran land to collect collateral, to service their extravagancy. And that is the picture. So when you see now that there's potentiality of an Igbo man becoming a president now, you can see the manipulation now that is going on using the judiciary, which I believe that some Northerners also have their hand in it because of Obi factor. Yes, I can tell you that. They have their hand on it. The Fulani agenda is also political.
All right, so let's talk about President Tinubu. A lot of Yoruba people are saying, look at the likes of Ekiti, the recent killings of Christians and some of the monarchs that have also fled in Kwara and Ekiti state. Now, some of people are saying, despite having a Yoruba president and his people are being killed and he cannot do anything, what do you make of that?
He has come out to tell that he is Buhari, and Buhari is the kingdom of the Fulanis in Africa, in Nigeria precisely. He is their life patron. He represents anything Fulani, and in fact he is the one that empowered Meiti Allah. And some of these Meiti Allah now are contesting for governorship position in some states in the north. Don't you see when the president say it, that he is not Buhari? That in fact him and Buhari are partners. Oh, he said he wants to use insecurity to... Huh? How did you know that insecurity is being used as a political weapon? You see what we are driving at? How did he know that insecurity can be used as a political weapon? You see why the Canadian court said these people are terrorists. You see why Mike Arnold made it very clearly that Nigerian government is a terrorist-driven Sharia government. Nigerians pretend a lot, especially the Christians. They pretend a lot. They are seeing this thing very clearly that yes, it might not be their target. After all, in the southwest Yoruba land, it is 50-50. Most of them are Muslims, most of them are Christians. They don't care. They prefer to sit on the fence. And that's the picture. The most threatened are the Biafran people. And you can see very clearly that every other structure to keep Nigeria one is fake. Look at the billions that are generating from different sectors of the economy. They cannot use it to fix agriculture. They cannot use it to fix the steel they are borrowing because there is an oil well as collateral. As Sanijo Kubo, there is an oil well are being used as collateral. Tombolo oil well are being used as collateral. And that is why I celebrate General Sapuja. I think it's a big difference from them. You have a little time to tell the people the truth. Who tells you there are no Muslims in America? Who tells you there are no Christians in Saudi Arabia? Why must Nigeria become an extremist nation? Today, nothing is in control. Nothing that the masses can boast of. But when you shout, like I'm shouting, they give you rice. Our mothers and sisters at home, what will you do with a cup of rice? Then after you have eaten a cup of rice, what next? That is the basis of what we are talking about. That if we have to change a policy, anti-people policy, we must change politicians. And if the politicians refuse to change, then we must look for options. It is not longer a northern bloc versus the southern bloc. It is not. It is beyond that. It has become an ideology driven by a mystery that looks like leadership. That is it. So, 2027 election